Morning all, how are we doing? Thursday morning at last. One more day to go until the weekend, always good. Bit of paddleboarding this weekend, I think. And cooking. Myself, not food. It's going to be hot this weekend, again. Right, just quick recap yesterday as usual. Did 0.45% yesterday. What did I close out yesterday? I had a little stop loss on US dollar CAD. Let's go to M15 so we can see it down there. So obviously the US dollar CAD, we had the CAD news come out yesterday. They increased the rates yesterday unexpectedly. So as we pulled down, I put another little position on there, hoping that they would do a full retracement of the move before they took it down, if they were going to, which they didn't. So I had a little pushed up a little bit, and then I had a little stop on there. So it's a tiny little loss, $40, just as a trial order to try and get out of that, because I had two a bit close up there. Got another one on with the EA when we pushed up, and we're pretty much break even on that one now. Pound Swiss, closed that one out. So that one, I'm out of the pound Swiss and flat now. That was from Tuesday. Got out of that one yesterday evening. Came back down, we tapped into that trend line. The reason I got out of this one yesterday was we were approaching yesterday's low. I was expecting a bounce off of yesterday's low, and I was also expecting a trend line bounce, which we got. So I got out of that before we got to the trend line and yesterday's low. So flat on the pound Swiss now. I've taken 1, 2, 3, 4 profitable trades out of that and one break even. US dollar yen, 125 ADR. Blimey, what's going on with the US dollar this morning? New Zealand dollar yen closed that one out yesterday. Went flat on that ahead of the US figures, because I didn't want the US figures to tank it, which it did. And so I got out just before the US figures on that. And Euro US dollar, another pound Swiss. There we know about Euro US dollar. Oh, that was the 12th. Sorry. Yeah, so that was yesterday's. Those four. So not bad, not great. In between. Got Aussie dollar Swiss on. I had an opportunity to get out of this yesterday. I've had an opportunity to get out of this multiple times this week, and I haven't. It's really not going anywhere, this Aussie Swiss. So I'm going to try and close this out. I had an opportunity to close it out while I was at spinning this morning, which I wasn't. I'm morning everybody, by the way. I haven't said good morning to anybody. Neo, Analia, Fabio, rather. Ladder, Jesse, Kennelly, good morning. EA's got me into a second position on this. It's not going anywhere, and I'm waiting for some Swissy strength. I really like this short, but I'm just a little bit concerned by this accumulation because we've got this level here holding. So I'm just a little worried that we might be consolidating at the highs for a bit of a push. Not a problem if it does. We got a double top and strong resistance coming up for a drop, so I'm not that worried about it, but I'd just like to see it go a bit quicker. I was expecting a bit more strength on the Swissy, and the Aussie excuse me, has just had a really good session. So this 4-hour candle we've got going up, that's just the Aussie. The Aussie's been strong overnight, obviously in the Asian session, so I'm not that worried about that one. US dollar CAD's got 3 positions on, which I've just covered really, but took another position with the EA, pushing up to break even. I've got 2 fairly close to each other, one with EA, one manual. So see what happens with that. We've got 4 minutes to the open, and we've got oil on. So I took a trade on oil yesterday. I don't normally trade oil, but I really like it down here. I've got 2 positions, 2 close together, again, because I got in one manual, expecting it to push down, but it didn't. It pushed up and down and up and down, and then the EA got me in because it was accumulating. Morning, Trevor. But yeah, I'm not worried about oil dropping dramatically. If it does push down, it's fine. It's not going down. Oil is not going to go down very far. If it does, it's going to come down to this sort of level, which I'm expecting, the 92 a barrel. If it drops down to somewhere around about the $90 a barrel, that's fine as well with me. I'll just scale in, but it's going up. It's not going to go down. Oil demand, the output for oil is expected to increase over the next 12 months. It's forecast to increase. Its supply is being restricted. It's going to go up at some point. Morning, gentlemen. So I'm not worried about that too much. News, ADR on US dollar Swiss. Really strong US dollar this morning. Nice to see. Keep going US dollar CAD. I've got one TP set up here, by the way, on US dollar CAD. Oops, can't see it now. Up at these highs. So this position here is TP at those highs. Reason being, these two are a bit close together. So if it pushes up and double tops, I'm going to get out of one position, that one on a double top, and then I've got very nice spacing between those two. So that'll be a little profit I'll take, but just in case we get a double top bounce on it, because it's two strong currencies basically. So if they're going to accumulate, double tops will normally be high of range, which will hold. So I'm just going to scratch that one, well, not scratch it, take a bit of profit on it, if we can get up there. So just want to quickly look at the indices. We've got 2 minutes to the open. The DAX yesterday, we had a weird day yesterday. We had this big strong push and then it retraced all the way back up again. Look at these dojis. Ordinarily I would say this is a reversal signal, a big reversal signal. A doji, look, a doji in the middle of an accumulation, get your words out. A doji in the middle of a trend tends to be a continuation signal. A doji after a strong move tends to be a reversal signal. It's difficult to read this one, bang in the middle here. I would say, I'm kind of thinking this is probably a reversal signal, but looking at this one here, it could well just continue. See, reversals tend to come, this is part of a 3-bar reversal when we get that push up, doji, drop. So yeah, interesting what's going to happen with this one today. This was just a weird day yesterday. I did lovely yesterday. I made over $3,000. I was long and short the market, but very odd. So we'll see. Market's just opened. Pretty bearish. Looking at M5 on the DAX. We've got a gap fill to do this morning. Which is not particularly big, but it is there nonetheless. So I'm kind of bullish on the morning. I haven't got any positions on the futures. Where have we gone today? I'm just looking at my futures screen. So let me just... We'll have a look at the... news in a second. I just want to try and get a couple of futures positions on. Where's the thingy gone? Over. So. That's the account that's passed. So if I can get a quick one out of that. Sorry, bear with me 1 sec. I'm just replicating the trades on all my accounts. So I'm looking for a breakout to the upside this morning and then a run on the highs to do the gap fill on the DAX. Got positive delta at the open. We had a bit of bearish movement come in, but we stopped. So you can see, obviously, we got this big old gap to sort out. So I'm looking for a break of the highs today. So I'm just sticking some orders on to try and get 400. Well, yeah, push to the highs basically on all of those accounts. But we'll monitor those. I'll flick back and we'll monitor those. News. So, news today. Yesterday, obviously, we had the CAD rate. Now, they surprised us there. I'm quite surprised the market didn't react. I was a little bit worried about this when this came out yesterday at 2.5. The market, I thought, was going to react a little bit stronger to that rate change. Obviously I was thinking the CAD might push a lot harder than it did. Quite lucky it didn't, because I was short. I was long US CAD. So thankfully it hasn't, which is interesting. And I think it's partly to do with the fact that oil is still dropping. Oil didn't have a positive reaction to the oil figures yesterday either. So I think the whole lot just held CAD down a little bit. The CPI obviously went absolutely terminal on the US dollar. There was liquidity missing everywhere. The market's really illiquid at the minute. We're coming into summer months and there's a lot less liquidity in the market. When that CPI figure came out, there were gaps absolutely everywhere. The futures market, I have never seen the futures market gap like that before. I said it, I posted it in the Telegram group, I think. I made over $1,400 in less than a second, because it got me into a position and then it gapped about 20 points up. And literally I closed out way above my TP. My TP was $400 on it. It gave me $1,000. I've never seen that before. So there was real lack of liquidity in the market yesterday across the board. All the CFD brokers were trying to settle accounts which had gapped. We had gaps in things like the New Zealand dollar yen yesterday. Whoops. We had these like that. Yeah, I mean, you don't see that on news events normally. Maybe non-farm payroll, if it's a biggie or something, you might get something like that. But normally on a CPI figure, you wouldn't get stuff like that going on. So there was a massive amount of order dumps happening at the same time with very little liquidity in the market, and that obviously just causes these huge gaps to appear. So yeah, very weird day yesterday. New Zealand dollar yen's just had a massive spike as well. So yeah, very odd yesterday. That's a massive opening range. Look at the size of that. Well, market's opening bearish. I'm going to leave those orders in this morning. I've just stopped out on that one on one of my accounts. Let me just add that back in. I've already got it in. So yeah, big movement yesterday. We had the New Zealand dollar rate, which came out as expected, which we covered yesterday morning as well. So yeah, big day. We've got we had Aussie done unemployment figures this morning, which is why the Aussie dollar has been strong. So we've had that push on the Aussie this morning on positive figures. Main one this afternoon is PPI for the US dollar. So that's forecast to be as expected. We have had a couple of as expecteds recently on that. Tends to come out more positive most of the time, or as expected, so should be bullish US dollar this afternoon. But yeah, we will see on that one, but that's all we've got this afternoon. We got Weller speaking later, but that's it. So yeah, one at 1:30. Apart from that, no more news to worry about. Statement of interest is not really important tomorrow morning, so the next is retail sales tomorrow for the US and University of Michigan. So yeah, so 1:30 this afternoon, need to be ready for that one. Okay, so good rejection on the lows there. So we've just taken the lows out. That's a massive opening range. What's the rest of it up to then? We'll quickly whiz through the Nasdaq's bearish. Yes, we got a bit of divergence forming here. We got strong DAX and weak US indices. I would suspect the indices will now start to drag themselves up with the DAX if the DAX pushes on those highs. Just challenging the low of the session on the US indices. So they've done their gaps in Globex, didn't realise. Look at that. Look. I haven't seen that for ages. That was there was a look. We gapped in the S&P. Really screws the indicator up when you get gaps like that. But yeah, there was a massive liquidity. There was a lot of people in quite a few of the Discord channels and forums that I'm in moaning like hell. They lost a lot of money because they were wrong side on it and it gapped the wrong way on them. Their stops didn't get honoured. So if you imagine if you were long on this here, yeah, if you got in a long there and you had a stop there, you would not have got honoured. You probably wouldn't have got honoured there. You probably would have got honoured somewhere down here. So you know, from a risk reward places, a lot of margin calls yesterday on accounts because they were over leveraged, these news traders that do this, and got burnt badly. So stops are only honoured if there's liquidity to honour the stop. Jesse, $200 on that push down on ES. Good morning for you. Good, excellent, good job. Yeah, we're just testing the lows at the moment. Bit of indecision, it looks like at the moment across the indices. Mainly bearish though, and this has just been red. So right, let's have a look at ADRs in because we've got a couple of ADR hits now. So US dollar yen, 125 ADR. I'm long, well, I would have been long US dollar yen. I've been looking for an opportunity to get back into this. Didn't take that. Should have really taken that, shouldn't I? That was pretty obvious, but I didn't. So yeah, that's off to the highs. I'm long US dollar, short yen, so I'm not going to try an ADR reverse that. US dollar Swiss is still pushing up, so it's not quite where I want it to be. This is what I'm looking for. Actually, I'm going to draw it as a box. Looking for some kind of reaction up there. So 150 ADR US dollar Swiss. If we can get a push to 150 ADR, I'd be interested in a mean reversion trade on that one. Although that has just done a profit take, isn't it? So I'm not sure about that one. New Zealand dollar yen. That's the second ADR hit we've had. We had a hit yesterday on that and hit again. So very weak yen by the looks of things this morning. Yeah, all the yens, everything pushing up against the yen. It's typical, isn't it? I've been sitting in the yen for days, on the Aussie yen, for weeks, look. I've just been sitting in this thing, just milking it. And now I get out of it because I'm fed up with it just going sideways, and now it pushes. So it's just always the way, isn't it? Pound odd. Missed it. Sit to the downside. This has all happened very, very quick, this, look. No opportunity to get in on these hits. No news, is there? I wonder why that's. We just had a lot of orders just dumped in the market this morning by the looks of things. Aussie dollar yen. Hit to the upside. I want to be long on it, so I don't really want to ADR reverse that either. So all the ADR reversals are kind of the wrong direction for me at the minute. US dollar Swiss I might be interested in. But I want it to be 150. Need another reason to get short on that because it's kind of counter trend. Well, it's a long against a long, really. I think the Swiss should be powering up, but at the moment it's not. Actually, I just realised that's not an ADR hit. That look at that broker manipulation. That's not really an ADR. So I suspect if you measure it from kind of where yesterday's close was. That's 50 pips, so we're looking for 78. So that's about 100 ADR. So brokers been mucking about overnight on that. 5 minutes. That doesn't move that far in 5 minutes, Mr. Broker. That's spread. So up to there is exactly where I'm interested in. That will probably be a proper 100 ADR hit. Balls are starting to come in. See if we can get some upside momentum going now. Right, so ADRs is nothing I'm interested in. It's weird. We're on Thursday. I don't think I've ever seen the ADR dash have no weekly hits on the average weekly ranges on a Thursday. We've always got something that's hit by now. It's a bit weird. So you just see how sideways and illiquid the market is at the moment. We're just not getting any movement to normal ranges. So it's all starting to quiet down. So when we get into the summer months, the ADR dashboard sort of comes into its own. Anything that can hit ADR in summer months is worth mean reverting, regardless of what direction your bias is, because it takes a lot to get something to ADR when there's nobody trading it. How am I viewing Swiss yen? Swiss yen is a long. Oh, for God's sake. I selected that chart. Yeah, Swiss yen's a long. Lovely W off of the 24, triple bottom. Yeah, it's a long. This is all the ends are moving at the moment nicely, but obviously you need to obviously think about how far these are going to go. All the yens could well easily challenge the highs. There's still no upcoming news on the yen that will potentially bolster it. But at any point, Kuroda could come out and put some easing policy on bond purchases in place, and it'll start to power up a little bit. But at the moment, the Swiss franc has had a very positive reaction to its increased rate announcement, which wasn't expected. And we keep getting the odd flurry of strength on the Swissy. And with a weak yen at the moment, it's a long. I'm not interested in shorting it. It will probably mean revert a little bit, but I'd much rather be on the long side. I think I can't remember. I don't think I was in the Swiss yen, but all these, you know, when all the yens are very much the same. So whichever one you've taken, you've probably made money out of. So I've been trading the Aussie yen. I traded a bit of CAD yen. Haven't traded the Swiss yen, but anything against the yen at the moment is longable. If it pulls back nicely, it's longable because the yen is so weak. So you can just keep taking longs on it until the monetary policy shifts on the yen. You know, so I think it's it's all pretty much the same. You know, so we've had the yen pushing down a little bit. Other things, anything that's even like the Aussie that's been weak. Anything weak against the yen is still going to outpower it. So every time it pulls back, just getting long. Every time it pulls back, getting long. You know, you can look at the hourly. The hourly's quite nice to look at on this. So any hourly extensions are decent trades. But as I say, you know, we're not getting a massive amount of hourly extensions either at the minute. So US dollar Swiss, I'm going to whiz through all the pairs in a minute anyway. Right, so US dollar yen hourly, massively extended. Don't want to be mean reverting that at the moment. So I'm just, I've got a futures trade running. I just want to add to it. And I'll get rid of that one. Yeah, so this is a beautiful mean reversion trade, but you are massively counter trend. And the way this US dollar is going after the CPI figures yesterday, I probably wouldn't want to get in the way of this today, this US dollar. It looks very, very, very strong this morning, and it's not really giving any signs of weakening much at the minute. So, yeah, big strong pushes on US dollar yen. Swiss yen, again, these are all going to be in the wrong direction. Swiss yen massively extended to the upside. CAD yen massively extended the upside. So it's up to you and how comfortable you are going counter trend. But yes, you know, after what's this, 8 hours or so of solid up, they are going to take a profit on a portion of this move. How many are taking a profit is impossible to tell. So yes, you are going to get a mean reversion out of it, but don't get too greedy with it. So if these hit ADR today, as well as having the RSI hourly extensions, they're probably extended on the 4 hourly. I would imagine this one's definitely extended on the 4 hourly. I can see from the 2-day move. But yeah, you can mean revert them, but I'd wait for them to get super extended, because if you're going to take a mean reversion against the trend, you want to make sure you are getting in when it's absolutely exhausted. So I just got to take profit on a trade. What do we think on that? Hang on a sec. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to be brave this morning. I got 2 contracts long on ES at the minute. I'm sitting in $700 profit, but I'm going to be brave. DAX has done its fill, hasn't it? Oh, no, it hasn't quite. It's close. Sorry, bear with me, I'm just thinking. You can hear my brain moving. 84.75, 84.75. 93. 1200. 1, 2, 3. Okay, going for $1,200 run. That'll be me done on that account this morning. Right. Sorry. Too many things at once. I've just broke even, stopped it, just in case. So yeah, all of these yens don't like personally. They are probably going to mean revert at some point, but you know, they are very nicely extended. So any time you can get that pullback happening, it may well be happening now. Look. So see what happens. US dollar is probably pulling back as well. Yeah. I can tell because the indices are going up, which tends to do the inverse to the US dollar. We've got bullishness coming through on all indices, so we should see some weakness start to form across the US dollar as well. Right, so there's your hourlies, 4 hourlies. There's the CAD yen, the one I said looked like it was probably going to be extended on the 4 hour too, because we've had a multi-day push on that. So yeah, that is really nicely extended. We've got this high here, which is our next area of interest on this, which is at ADR. So if we get an ADR hit on this today, that would be again a nice mean reversion, but that's what I'd be looking for, something like a 12-hour pullback or something, just in case we get a new leg starting upwards. So if we get up to ADR on that today and we hit there's going to be a lot of orders sitting there ready to fire, and everybody that has got in on this move is going to want to start taking a portion of their profits off up there as well. So that's a very good spot to start looking at shorts on the CAD yen. Again, counter trend, so you've got to be a bit careful with it. Euro CAD. Again, long in the euro, I just can't do it at the minute. I've tried it, and I got out. Look, I mean, this is why I got out. You know, it was absolutely exhausted on the 4 hour, the hourly, the daily. It's exhausted everywhere, and yet it just can't get anywhere. They came out and took all the liquidity yesterday, and yet again today we're dropping down. It's just got no power at all. Sorry, I'm just going to lock in some profit. We're faltering a little. Lock in 500. You're going to get me out now, aren't you? You bagger. So I'm just flatten that order. There we go, 550. So lost 400 on the first one, made 550 on the second. That'll do me for the bit. EuroCAD, yeah, so I don't like it long at all. It's very extended on the 4 hourly, and it is just extended and embedded. So we got extended. I mean, we hit. I mean, that's where we started being embedded there. It's just not gone anywhere. We've got a strong Canadian dollar. We've got a massively weak euro. It's just not got anything going for it at all until the rate announcement on the euro, which is week after next. So until that time, I don't want to really long it. It's longable in the fact that you'll get some kind of little pullback on it every now and again, which will give, this is basically profit take moves. So they're pushing, profit take push, profit take push, profit take push, profit take push. So that's basically the cycle that we're in. Until there's any kind of fundamental shift on it, that should continue. So any kind of pullback into the support rectangle on the 4 hour, you could probably short it, but you are shorting it at a massive extension, and at some point it will be the investors that are in this will be taking profits. So you're going to get a decent pullback, probably somewhere to the 24. That's the point. That's why I'm worried about shorting it down here, because I know at some point we're going to get one of those, and it will be sod's law. It's the one that I take short, which is why I'm not going to do it. I take shorts when we've done the profit take move. When I've seen them take their profits, they're going to load up again. So not for me, EuroCAD. Or really CAD yen. CAD yen I would possibly potentially think about doing, because the yen does have its little pumps every now and again, so that is worth having a shot at short counter trend. And US dollar yen, same thing. It's absolutely exhausted. It's miles and miles and miles away from the 24 now. You know, when we get that far from the 24, we tend to get some kind of move starting, but you are counter trend. I just think at the moment, the way the markets are going at the moment, they are totally trending. Everything is trending. It's very obviously trending, or it's very obviously range bound. So I just don't want to take too many counter trends at the moment. Now you go. Thanks very much. I'm averse to taking counter trend at the moment, because the bias on everything seems to be sticking. The way the economies are going everywhere, everybody is battling inflation, and the weak currencies are struggling consistently. The stronger currencies are consistently doing okay. They're not doing well, but they're doing okay. And as long as you've got a positive currency against a negative currency, and there's nothing on the horizon to change that, it should carry on trending as it is. So inflation figures are going to be key to watch over the coming months. So if we see inflation starting to become a little bit more under control, and interest rates starting to, you know, creep up by 25 basis points instead of the 50s, 75s and the 100s, which we just saw yesterday, that's when we'll start to see strength coming through in these other currencies. So until that happens, business as usual, and keep with the trend if you can. So everything, this is where I'm interested in taking trades on the vast majority of things. Anything that I take on a small pullback like this, you just got to be very careful with it. And I want to see a decent level below that I know I can rely on for some kind of bounce. So that if we do go for the 24 and the 24 fails, I need to see somewhere that I've got that sort of backup plan in place. So just plan your trades. If you can't see anything that looks like a good support below you to the left, I'm not really interested, and I'm obviously not interested in going against the trend at the minute. So which is why it's making it hard for me to get into positions, because I'm just struggling to find opportunity at the minute. God, what's going on with the Aussie this morning? Aussie's on a mission. Again, they're way too close together. I've got to get my EA usage under control. I'm getting in too tight on initial entries. I'm kind of getting in with 0.5% instead of a 0.25% risk. because I keep taking manual trades expecting either the trade to go with me or go against me, so the EA gets me in if it goes against. And what it seems to do every time I get into a trade at the moment is accumulate for a while, so I get a reversal alert and I'm just double exposing, but hence being a little bit more drawdown than normal on them. But anyway, the plus side is the trades are all pretty much working out most of the time, so when they do go my way, I'm actually double exposed and in profit, which is even nicer. US dollar CAD, I'm just going to keep an eye on this one because I might take a profit on a portion of that. Indices are still pushing, so sorry, I'm just looking at where I've put my orders. Yeah, I've just I don't really want to lose this profit on the US dollar CAD. At the minute, we're in a massive accumulation, but we are at the moment making ever such slight lower highs. Actually, that's kind of, that was the new spike though, wasn't it? So I'm just worried that we are ever so slightly down trending on this. You can see from the lows as well, we're kind of ever so slightly contracting downwards. So what I don't want to do is obviously have this drop all the way back down to there. I might as well take this position off and then add it back on again down here, so I can profit from it twice. So I'm just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on with the US at the minute. Indices are starting to drop again, so we should have a bit more strength come through on that. Yeah, I'm going to see if we can get a little bit more of a push. It's dropping again now. It's 0.25%. So I'm just going to watch it. I'm not going to literally sit here and watch it because that'd be really boring, wouldn't it? But right. So that's it for RSIs. There's nothing interesting to me at all at the moment on RSIs. Dailies, we've got the Euro CAD again. As extended as that is, it is starting to flatten out. But as extended as it is, I just can't bring myself to long the euro against the Canadian dollar, because I've just got this feeling that oil is going to start to increase, and then that's going to power up the CAD, and that powers up the CAD with the euro having nothing going for it. This is still just either going to accumulate or drop. So I'm not interested in longs. The only reason I took that long was because we were just so extended across every time frame. We were extended on the 4 hour below 15, so I was like, now we are really shot. We should have at least something happen, and that's why I took that one. But I'm all the time it's bed on the daily, I'm still interested. So we just got a little bit of strength showing on the indices. I'm going to close this one out. I just want to bank something. I'll add it back on. So I just want to stick something in the bank to get towards my 0.5% really. And if it's going to pull back, I'll add back. So yeah, we've got that one. We've got the Euro Swissy on the daily as well. So again, massively extended on the dailies. The Swiss franc is a little bit weaker. This is a really tricky one, the Euro Swiss, because the Euro and the Swiss are both in the Eurozone. The Swissy's always been in control of the Euro because the Swiss banking system is so affluent. That all kind of changed when the war in Ukraine kicked in. We had a bit of turmoil happening, and everything, all the money flew out the Swissy basically into other areas, mainly into the Australasian pairs. So that has kind of resurrected itself with the rate announcement, which was there somewhere. But saying that, now the US dollar's going. The euro isn't able to do anything against the Swissy, so every time we get a push on the Swissy, even if this thing is pushing up slightly, it's going to drop again. So again, it's not one that I really want to be interested in taking any longs on at the moment. I mean, it's a massive short, so that's no good. Euro US dollar, we're getting a real nice basing out on the US dollar, the Euro US dollar here, but that's mainly because of the US dollar weakness. Now on those back of those figures that we had yesterday, I suspect the US dollar is going to flip. So PPI this afternoon is going to be key. If we get positive PPI figures and we get positive retail figures, the confidence in the US dollar is going to come back a lot stronger. We've been waiting for a pop on it, and this week we've got an awful lot of catalysts that could potentially give the market a little bit more of a bias long on the US dollar. So the fact that we're bottoming out here is kind of an indication that that may well happen, because what they're doing is enticing lots of people to go long in here. There's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting under there, which they'll basically just run through. We are very extended, and the euro is still very weak, so any kind of strength on the US dollar is going to push this back down again. So it's just very difficult to long when you've got potentially expected strength coming on the US dollar, because obviously that's going to push euro US dollar down, so that's no use either. Pound CAD, this one again, I've been shorting this. I want to get in short on it. It's pushing up at the moment, so we've got a little bit of strength coming through. We had that massive movement off of the CAD figures, which was basically just a massive whipsaw. I want it to get back up, so I'm looking for this to pull back up somewhere into the accumulation if we can. If we can get up into there, I'm interested in another short opportunity, but I'm not interested in longing it, even though it's extended on the daily. I think that's where it's going to potentially stay when oil increases. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, same story with this one. Expectations are a little bit of strength coming through on the US dollar. The New Zealand's got nothing at the minute. So looking at the news that we had with the New Zealand dollar, the rates went up by normal percentages, and the New Zealand dollar basically went in there, didn't do anything. So if the rate increase as expected is not going to strengthen the New Zealand dollar, nothing is. So all it's going to take is a little bit of a push on the US on news, and this thing's coming back out the lows again. So it's a short, and it's staying a short. Therefore, on the daily, I'm not interested in any mean reversion opportunities on it. And US dollar yen off to the moon. So there's nothing out there. There's really nothing that I'm interested in getting into new, which is kind of why I've taken oil, which is something I don't normally trade, because of not so much the boredom factor, just because I can't find any FX pairs. I'm toying with the idea of getting into positions on the indices as well, just because the FX stuff is all the ADRs are contracting a lot. We've got nothing here. Look, there is nothing that has an ADR of 200 or more. Yeah. Pound New Zealand, oh yes we have, pound yen, sorry. Pound New Zealand, I used to trade at 350 ADR. I used to trade it at 400 ADR, it's 160. There's so many ADRs under 100 now. There's no interest. We are in a massive state of fear in the market, and there's no strength in movement, which is obviously what mean reversion needs. It needs strong pushes and profit take moves. We're getting grinds at the moment, so it's all about trend opportunities when you can find them, or double tops and double bottoms on anything that's accumulating. And it's very difficult to change your mindset, whereas for me to get into these things. So it's pullbacks to 24s, and assumption that trend is going to continue is what I'm looking for. And the problem is a lot of the stuff at the moment we're lacking in these pullbacks. So US dollar Swiss I got into short. So that, got in one there. So that's what I'm looking for basically at the minute. And we're getting, this is a good example. We're just getting this, this space between the 24 that we're not quite getting back to. We're not quite, what we would normally see is an RSI hit up in here and then next leg starting. We're just not getting above that 60 level in the RSI. The strength is just not there. So it's like a push and then a little weakness, and then a push, a weakness, and then a collapse. It's difficult to get into them because you can't time those moves. And I don't really want to scale into stuff. I want to pick the right pairs to get exposed on it, because obviously exposure is key. And if I get overexposed on something and I see a brilliant opportunity, then I can't take it. And I'm just being super selective, I think, at the minute. Very weird times from a liquidity perspective. Summer months this year, I think are going to be weird. I think we're going to see so much slippage because it's normally quiet, and it's quiet now. So when the kids break up for school in a couple of weeks' time, and we have the 6 to 8 weeks of light liquidity, it's going to be quite difficult to get anything to move, I think, but we'll see. So yeah, Aussie CAD, I'll quickly whiz through everything and just see if anything jumps out at me. Aussie Swiss, definitely I like that short, I'm already in it. US dollar yen, Aussie dollar yen, I was in and out, in and out, in and out. So I've kind of milked it, but I got out because we weren't going anywhere. So I get out, and this week it decides to go. So I have been in it. Aussie New Zealand, same thing. Aussie New Zealand. See, I looked at this yesterday as an opportunity. Not yesterday. Earlier in the week, I got out of it. I'd taken so much out of it, and it had gone nowhere. I was just right. Okay, I'm going to wait until it gets up there, and then I'm going to short it. And now it's starting to move towards that direction. So at the moment, my play is going to be that. We've got news. We've had the news on the Aussie this morning, which has obviously bolstered that. So that move's kind of started without me because I got out of it because I was in it all the time waiting for the move to happen, and it didn't. So I was, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to move up to here. We're not getting there. But I'm not going to short it really there. I'm going to long it down here somewhere. So I kind of just missed the boat on that one a little bit. Aussie US like short. Again, a lot of people use measured moves for entries on trades. Yeah, so we should have been in this yesterday morning, but this isn't how I trade. So it's a short, and it's kind of a short anytime you like now, really, just expecting next leg down on US dollar strength. But I don't want to take it because it's below the 50. It's just not getting back up to here. We're not even in the support rectangle for H4. So, it's just stuff's not quite getting to where I want it to be at the minute. But I'm not going to take a trade just because I need to get into something. Because the moment you take a trade out of boredom, that's the moment where we get negative figures left, right and centre, and you've got the opportunity to get massively extended, touching the 72. Before you know it, you're in a squeeze. So you're just not going to get into stuff just because I haven't got any opportunities. CAD Swiss, want it up here. It's not got there yet. CAD is a strong currency against potentially a strong currency, so again, not really for me. CAD Gen's off, so Swissy. Euro odd, so we're coming down to a potential area of interest on Euro odd. So we've got a lovely range long. Again, I can't long the euro. It's a neutral Australian dollar against a weak euro. I just can't long it. I'd be interested in shorting it if we can get a 50% pullback on this move. So if we can get back up into sort of the 72.24 area, I'll be interested, because then I know that I can do that to get out, because likelihood is when we get to these highs we're going to get a reaction. So I want to be shorting it up there. Euro CAD is just collapsing. Euro Swiss starting to show a little bit of signs of strength, but I say I'm not longing that. I want to be shorting it, but again, this is another good example, isn't it? It's just not getting anywhere near a pullback. There's just no pullbacks. The pullbacks are just, they're all flags. Look, they're all tiny little flags, and I don't trade flags, but they're really easy identifiable flags. So this is, we're currently starting a flag now. So if we get back into this red box and we break that trend line, but look what you get out. This is the reason I don't trade flags, is because you don't get a massive amount of movement out of them before they start to flag again. So I've never been a flag trader, but that's what that was doing. Euro pound, no idea. It's a sideways mess. It broke down and now we're going back to accumulation. It's a week against a week. It's got a 64 ADR. It's just not of interest. Euro yen is potentially a long, but again, this is the one I don't want to long out of the euros. You see all the other euros, all the other yens, everything else against the yen is kind of making headway towards the highs, the recent highs. The euro hasn't even got halfway through the move there, so you can see how weak this is. A massively weak currency against a massively weak currency. It's just so too much of a coin flip as to which of these is going to power up next. It is literally luck. It's going to go one way or the other with you or not. Again, some indices strength starting to show. Indices going nowhere this morning. Euro New Zealand, so this is potentially an area of interest. We've looked at this. We're not getting anywhere this week on this. So all we're doing so far this week is just basically sitting around this area. This looks like a rounding bottom forming to me. Which we will see that sort of movement on. It's got a fairly decent ADR, but it's taken a whole week to decide it doesn't want to go any lower. You'll be sitting in this for an entire week waiting for it to decide whether or not it wants to get any higher at the moment. There's no news catalysts for these two, which are going to move either of them. So again, looking from a news perspective moving forward, we've got CPI for the New Zealand dollar coming up. It's next week, the rates. 21st, I thought it was the 27th. Right, so Euro, yeah, right, okay. So Euro next week, we've got the rates. Forecasts aren't in yet, but they change literally from day to day at the minute. So yeah, that's coming up next week. So we have got potentially a mover coming up on these. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to the euro. I suspect we're going to get some strength starting. So this is actually a pretty good opportunity. I don't want to sit in it though for a week, get into drawdown. The danger with trading the euro long, which is what I'm suspecting we will probably get. The danger is you go long on the euro here, it drops a little bit, you get another long, it drops a little bit, you take another long, you get a little bit of a push, and then you accumulate ahead of that rate announcement. What if that rate announcement tanks the euro and we go into a spiral on the euro because they haven't done what the world wanted them to do? You're absolutely shot. I'd rather wait just before the rate announcement happens, and if I feel there's anything in a good spot, then get into one on something that's already massively extended. I don't want to start taking positions here and this just grind. We've got the CPI figures on the New Zealand dollar coming in on Monday. Sunday night. What if that is positive for New Zealand? We're going to get this pushing down. See what I mean? You just don't want to get into drawdown before a big announcement. This is going to be the biggest, potentially. We've got Bank of Japan outlook as well coming up next week. This is potentially going to be the biggest rate announcement of the lot. Purely because you can see how long we've been sitting on negative zero rates. 2016 we shifted to zero rates. The euro hasn't been out of it for 6 6 years now. Yeah, we haven't had any positive rates for 6 years. This is the first positive interest rate announcement that we're going to have. And there's a massive range that this could come out at. There's some people are talking 0.25%. Some people are talking 1%. You know, Lagarde keeps changing their mind up. 0.65, then it's down to 0.5. They're really keeping us guessing on it. So the market, quite rightly so, on the euro, we're probably going to see the euro flatline because the market's not going to stick a load of risk on with that much uncertainty coming. And I'm exactly the same. I do not want to be looking at taking euro trades just before that. I thought it was a week further on than that, so I'm actually glad I looked at that. So that's all come from me talking about the euro New Zealand, but I'm not interested in it at the minute. I would be normally, but there's too much fundamental. And this is why I keep saying about the news. It's so important you know what is coming with the news and what the potential impact is going to be, because that's what drives the market. If you're using a stop loss, it doesn't matter at all, does it? It's not going to matter to you until next Thursday. But if you're position trading, you've got to be focused on the fundamentals a lot of the time. Same with the Euro US. Looks poised lovely for a pop, but I'm too risk averse to get in now. Pound odd is a short. I was in other pounds. I took one on that up there, but I was in other pounds, so I didn't take that one. And I was in other Australian dollars, but that was the lovely trade, and it's worked out beautifully along with all the others. Pound CAD. Oh, that's why I was in pound CAD as a short. I got out with a nice profit, but it's gone way further. Pound Swiss, I was in as well. There you go. That's why I wasn't in the pound odd, because I was in the pound CAD and the pound Swiss. So yeah, that's been working very nicely. Still coming down. It's pushing up now. So if we push back up, potentially we've got a triple bottom holding here. We've come back up. We've made a new high. So the market structure shifted, peak formation low. So this is potentially the pullback before next leg up. There's a lot of spaces up here where we could move to. Difficult to tell, but obviously the first spot is going to be that high here. So I'll be looking for a double top at the 24, and potentially for another entry back in short. We're just challenging the lows on the S&P. Didn't get any of my longs triggered. Not gone anywhere this morning. Pound yen is off, same as the euro yen with the pound yen. It's been the weaker of the lot, really. We're just about making 50% of this back. Extend that down. Everyone will be watching this trend line. Symmetrical triangle formation. Doesn't really matter how you draw it in too much, but so we're just in a contraction on this. The pound is weak. The yen is massively weak today, so wish I had some yens on. Got a double top potentially coming at 100 ADR, so that might be a nice mean reversion opportunity a little bit later on. Pound New Zealand, sideways mess, not interested at all. There's just zero direction on this thing. I'm interested in this box and this box. That's it. It's just not got there, so I haven't taken anything. Pound US, short. Again, want to pull back. I'm not a breakout trader, but if you're a breakout trader, go short. New Zealand CAD, again, Canadian dollar's too strong. A little bit weak at the moment, but again, it's no pullbacks, no entries. New Zealand Swiss isn't looking too bad. I am in the Aussie Swiss, so I'm in the Australian version of this. It's the same thing basically, so one or the other. I'm in the Aussie version, but again, you can short that one. New Zealand yen is off. That's the one I got out of yesterday, just before the CPI figures. Well, actually got stopped out on the CPI figures. So yeah, that was a long. That's not gone up because of the New Zealand dollar. It's gone up because of the yen weakness. So just so happens they decided to tank the yen the day after I get out. New Zealand dollar, US dollar short again, same thing, but same as the Aussie US. It's just creeping down, no pullbacks to get in on. US dollar CAD, I've got my long on this one, so this is a tricky one. I want to be a bit careful on this. The reason I've got it long is because of I'm expecting all of the news today and tomorrow to bolster the US dollar. So that's why I'm basically long on it, because we've got news catalysts coming out which I think will be able to get me out at least back up to the highs. If we retest these highs, I think there's a really good chance of us breaking through. Let's move that up a little bit. Oh, fine. All right, I'll do this one then. Yeah, if we break these highs here, I think we've got a very, very good chance of a breakout to the upside. This will be the third knock on the door. Actually, be the fourth knock on the door, kind of, if you include that wick and that wick. But once we've hit that 3 times, if we run up at it the fourth, and you see this in the futures market all the time. I'll show you an example in a minute. If you there's a really good example of this yesterday, actually. In the futures, we hit the lows on the ES yesterday 3 or 4 times, and there was a massive iceberg order there. The 4th time it hit it, it went through it like a steam train. So once you've tapped something 3 times and you haven't got through it, typically that will be the one where you'll get the tank. If you don't get the tank, they accumulate. They're taking a run up. So think of it like having a run at a locked door, didn't make it through. Having a run at a locked door, didn't make it through. Having a run at a locked door, taking a run up. If you go for that, the 4th time it's going to break. So the 4th time's a charm. That is when we tend to get those big like pops. So that's what I'm holding this for, is to see if we get that run at the highs again off of the US news. So we'll see what happens with it. But obviously the Canadian dollar having that rates, the news that it had yesterday on the rates being bigger than expected, may well bolster that CAD a little bit more, and it might find it difficult to get through now. So we'll see. But I like it long still. US Swiss won it up in the 150 ADR today for a short. And US dollar yen off to the races with all the others. So again, nothing, I just can't find anything really that I want to get into apart from what I'm in and I have been in. So at the moment just sort of hovering in DD, which is fine. But I've got, you can see by the the drawdown on these is too close. This is virtually the same position on oil. So I've just got a twice as big as usual position on. So this is I've only really got one position on. It's just twice as big as normal. This one's a little bit too close as well. So that's, I should really be in 0.5% now, but hey ho, I'll deal with it. So yeah, indices, DAX. DAX has done its gap fill. We're just holding at the moment, so not looking particularly interesting, the DAX. We're just testing these lows again. Same with the other indices, US indices. I'm going to have a go and pop out the short of that. We've tested this area once already today. This is our second run at the lows. So again, this is a good example. Yeah, so we've obviously gapped down to the low. We've come down, we've tested it. We've come down, we've tested it. Yeah, if we test that again, there's a very high probability of it breaking. And if it breaks, we'll get that pop. That pop is usually a very nice candle out the lows, and quite often the start of a new trend. We've got a weekly. US dollar yen. So yeah. So potential there on the Nasdaq popping, and getting close on the S&P as well. Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin up to? Not a lot. still not going anywhere. The rest of the cryptos. And oil. So yeah, oil still just hovering down there. We've got a lovely propulsion gap formed on the daily. We've got two actually on the daily. So just accumulating down at the lows here. And as I say, if this does drop, I'm not particularly worried about it because I've got support areas to prop price up within an ADR down at 92 a barrel. And then we got the psychological level of 90, which is a nice accumulation area. We like trading at 90 a barrel, so we'll have opportunities to get out at the 90s with a bounce at some point. But you can see the bounces. Oil is trading very nicely from a market structure perspective. We've got push down, pull up, 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 push down, pull up. If not, push down, then a pull up. So, you know, the market structure, and as long as you've got market structure, you've got opportunities to get out of positions. When we go into squeezes, that's when we get stuck. Oil doesn't do squeezes, it does market structure beautifully. So it's actually a really nice instrument to position trade. I've just never really got interested in it. So I might start, if this works out nicely, this trade, then I might start looking at this more often. But yeah, that's it. Has anybody got any questions on anything? See if I can squeeze some money out of today somewhere. Need things to move, don't we? Can't squeeze money out when nothing is moving. So 1:30 this afternoon, PPI. That's what we need to be aware of. Some decent volume coming in at the lows here. Just reset the ladder. So yeah, so that yesterday on the ES, look at that. Yeah, thank you. Massive delta coming. Look at those orders just come in there. Just going to see if this gets absorbed. If it gets absorbed, we might get that break. I'm going to bracket this. There we go. What's going on? My P&L display's gone haywire. Look at that. It's showing positive up and negative down. I've gone short. Something not right there. Gonna have one more on the lows. So see if we get a run on this low. There's a lot of absorption came in there, but we had a massive negative delta push. So basically this was all these longs here. What happened? Longs all entered at the lows, yeah, and the sellers came in and pushed it down, which forced all of those buyers to puke out their orders. Yeah, so all that lot there, a load of them came out of their orders here. So we need to see what happens with Delta moving forward from here. It looks like it's bullish. This is what I was going to do. I was going to take a long off of this. So let's just see if we get a pullback and push. But I think this might be a long. I'm just going to see if I can dig myself out of this one. I want to see Delta come back down. and the sellers take control of this. There's no big orders coming through, so that was absorption. So I'm on the wrong side of this one. Just going to see if we get a pullback on this push up before I get an opportunity to get stopped out. And just take a smaller loss on it. You gonna let me get another one on? No. I've got this node here which might hold up. There's no orders there though, so it's unlikely. Failed break. So it looks like it's range bound. Potentially. We'll either get the pullback now here, which is why I'm taking a second short to try and reduce the risk, the loss down here. So I just get out with a smaller loss. But either that or I'll just take the whole thing. Flip long. That kind of, they got me there. I was expecting that to do that. It didn't. So I was just going to show you this yesterday. I can't remember where it was. It was the 38s, wasn't it? Somewhere. Oops. What did we do? We pushed up on 200, didn't we? And pulled back down. I can't remember where it was. But yeah, yesterday there was a level. I can't remember the level. That was it. I think that must have been it. What time was that? 9 o'clock. No, it wasn't there. Oh, I don't know. I thought it was 38. It's that level there. I thought. Maybe I was wrong. Anyway, there was a level yesterday. We came down. Oh, it's after the news spike, wasn't it? Am I on the wrong day? $13th. What's the date today? 14th. 13th. Oh, I can't remember where it was anyway. I was just going to show you an example, but I can't actually find it. I'm pretty sure it was off the back of the news. It doesn't look like it's on the chart. Anyway, we pushed down. We're not going to get a pullback on this, are we? So I just need to see what Delta's up to. Yeah, Delta's shifting south. We might get the break. Bearish. I want to see some big orders coming in though to back this up, this Delta move, because we haven't quite broken the lows, but doesn't seem to be any volume coming in. Might get away with this one, you know. just watching this cluster here. Just to see if we can get into this cluster and try and get a profit out of it. It might backfire on me though. Got a big order propping us up at the highs, so I'm just going to get out onto 12.50 loss if this doesn't drop from here. So what was going to be a $400 loss is now a $200 loss. And might even turn into a profit. What was I talking about? Yeah, that big knock on the door. So basically we had a level yesterday. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 38s. Sorry, 80s. Or 82 or 83 or something like that. But basically we hit it. And we had a massive guy step in with 500 contracts. And it bounced, and then we hit 500 odd contracts again, then we hit it again, and we just kept hitting this one level. I had a pending order sitting right under it, and it hit it multiple times. So just got out $200 loss on that one. Yeah, and basically when it hit for the 4th time on that level, it just went crazy and it collapsed. My order was sitting here. I got filled down here and it spiked back up and took out a $400 loss because there was no liquidity. Because this guy here had absorbed every single selling order that came in, there were no sell orders underneath. So mine was sitting here, and as we hit this level, we basically just flew straight through, and I didn't get filled until down there, and then immediately it pulled back and dropped. So I took a $400 loss and it tanked. But that's because it hit the door the 4th time. It seems to be the 4th run up is always where we get that massive move through. So, yes, that's what I was talking about with the FX pairs. When you get that 4th knock on the door, which is what the US dollar CAD is attempting to do now, you quite often get that big move through. So, so yeah, so $87 down for this morning. Boo. So let me just move back to FX a minute. Now I've bored you with that. So I'm just going to monitor this lot today and see where we go. I've got no plans to get into any other positions. Gold. I don't trade gold, but I don't know with gold. Honestly, it's a treat it the same as any other cross. It's US dollar. So if the US dollar pumps today, gold will go down. If the US dollar tanks today, gold will go up. I'm expecting the US dollar to push, so I'd be short on gold, but you missed the opportunity for the pullback was yesterday, or rather in the Asian session this morning, I would imagine. Oh no, it's a horrible, hideous. This is why I don't trade gold. You just get these spikes. It's just not very stable. I think it's probably because it's not conducive to market structure breaks because of the speed of movement, the speed of push. Your breaks come too late on it. It just doesn't work for me. But yeah, I'd be short on it, but not from here. You want to be short from further up. It's got a couple of good propulsion gaps there off this accumulation. That one's held nicely, so it's definitely bearish, but I don't know where you'd get in. Not really got any entries at the moment. Jesse got 150 on that rejection of those. Good job. Glad someone did. I just lost $237. Isn't that weird though? Maybe you had one of my contracts. There's always a winner and always a loser with every contract entered in the futures market. Maybe you just took 2 of my contracts. You owe me 150 quid. And that's the beauty of futures, isn't it? You can, with futures market, you can basically be long or short at the same level, yeah. And right now, you've just made $150 on that. I lost $230 on that, I could hit the short button now and make money there. You could hit the long button there and take drawdown and make money there. Everybody can make money in the futures market because you only need 6 to 8 ticks to be making cash. Yeah. A lot of people there that shorted that might still be in it with a stop at the point of control looking for a swinger. You know, it's all about grabbing small pieces of money and building a pot with futures. Yeah, buy me a beer instead, that's fine. Have to be a big beer, it's got $150 worth of beer. But yeah, so the market's really flat today as well. Look at these volumes. 500 contracts. That's not too bad actually thinking about it. 6,000, 6,000, just put a 10 in on that drop. That's why I'm a little bit bearish on this, more than bullish. That's why I was expecting a break on that. Look at the size of the contract move, but that threw me, that delta, a little bit. We're still bearish. I think we're going to break down from here. In fact, I might have another go on a short, not with that sort of order. Don't want to trail it. Look at the other indices as well. Got a big order sitting here holding the Nasdaq down. Looks bearish, but there's an awful lot of buyers there, so we'll see. I haven't seen any sell orders coming in, so difficult. Globex is funny. It's really funny. Sometimes I make absolute fortune out of it. Sometimes it absolutely destroys me. So, oh look, our adult dating site's back again. Lovechat.xyz. Hey, come and visit my adult dating site. Get a virus. Be conned. Have your credit card stolen. Good idea. I don't think we'll do that. I'll just get rid of this muppet. Where's the report button? Report! It's been child abuse, pornography. There we go. Put user on a timeout. No, I'm not going to sit him on the naughty step. He can go forever. Be gone, porn man. Right. That's it for today. I've not really got anything else to discuss because it's really, really flat. Well, it's not flat. There's a lot of good movement. It's just the stuff that I've got off because I was waiting for it for an entire week and it decided to move the day after I got out of it all. But hey, I banked it all. I'm up to 2.6%. Target hit for the week. Done my grand for the week. So 10% for the month so far. We've still got a couple of weeks to go. So it's on for a 20%er this month. Don't get them very often. A bit rare, 20%ers. 10 to 15 is norm. But it would be nice if it can carry on like this. But we'll see. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50. So 1:30 this afternoon is your only news. So just be aware of the CPI. If you're trading futures, try and get flat. Because the move we had off of CPI yesterday, if PPI comes out as a positive as well, I think we might well get a bit more of that. So be very aware of slippage today. Market seems to be getting very illiquid. So decent moves on the US dollar potentially, and then we've got retails obviously tomorrow. So that's all you've got to worry about this afternoon from a news perspective. And then it's business as usual. But everything is fairly flat at the moment. Little bit choppy, a little bit wicky. So yeah, not really got a lot else to say. So yeah, back tomorrow morning, 7:50. I'll be in the Telegram group if you need me as usual. So anything you want to discuss in the Telegram group, come in. Anything you want to have a look at from a setup perspective with the EA or with the indicators, we're happy to talk about that. Not many people put setups in there. Don't be afraid to put anything you're in drawdown in there or anything. It's always good. Everyone can learn from it then. If there's anything that you're in drawdown on, but say just try and keep in line with the trend at the moment. The trend is your friend, as they say, and really at the minute you really want to use the trend, because all the majors are trending, and there's no reason until inflation stops that they will stop trending. So that's what we're looking for. Do not want to be hitting the opposite button. Use the 24 and the 72 to your advantage. They tell you what you need to be doing. And until they tell you otherwise, keep doing the same. All right, so have a good day, everybody. I'll keep you updated on anything that I'm closing or adding to throughout the day. I don't think there's going to be an awful lot, but I will update you. Yeah, hopefully we will be able to make some money today. All right, so have a good one, and I will see you guys in the morning.